Magandang araw, Sir Wilbur po, at your service. Narito ang ETUlay upang gabayan ka sa inyong pag-aaral upang lubos na maunawaan ang iba't ibang paksa o subject. Ang ETUlay ay isang free online tutorial class na pinangungunahan ng DepEd Educational Technology Unit sa pamumuno ni Undersecretary Elaine Del P. Pascua. Ang programang ito ay hindi lamang para sa mga bata, kundi ito rin ay magsisilbing gabay sa mga magulang at mga guro kung paano nila ituturo o gagabayan sa bawat asignatura ang kanilang mga anak o mga estudyante. Sa kasalukuyan, ang self-learning module mula sa rehiyon ng Calabarzon at kilala sa tawag na pivot ang ginagamit sa ating ETUlay online class. Kaya ano pang hinihintay ninyo? Ihanda na ang inyong mga ballpen o lapis, papel o kwaderno at samahan kaming itulay ang pagkatuto para sa bawat batang Pilipino. Sama-sama tayong magtutulungan para malampasan ang mga hamon sa panahong ito. Halina't matuto kasama ang inyong online tutor sa oras na ito.
Hello everyone. Good afternoon. Magandang hapon po sa kanilang lahat, lalong-lalo na sa ating mga mag-aaral on the air. Ito ang ETUlay, Huwebes is Huwebes. Okay, so we have here online participants kasi may mga parents din tayo at saka mag-aaral or mga guro din that watching online dito sa ating ETUlay, and nagpapasalamat ako sa inyo sa inyong continuous patronage. And yung pag-learning nyo dito, hindi lamang para sa mga mag-aaral, pati na din kayo, matuto kayo sa Philippine Politics and Governance. Ito po ang inyong tutor Alan, on air, dito sa ETUlay every Huwebes. Huwebes is Huwebes. Yan. And of course, nandyan palagi sa tabi ninyo, you have to keep safe, maintain social distance, and of course, disinfect once in a while, okay? You have also to get ready with your modules and notes and pens and focus. Yung may iba, wag na lang mag-notes and pens para no contact. So gagawin nila, magpo-focus sila, tapos they will learn. And of course, you make comments. We have here a viewer, Lance Nathaniel Dala. Hello sa iyo, dyan sa Antonio National High School sa, Paramake o Paranaque? Okay. At sa lahat na nakikinig ngayon sa online, we can review this video in YouTube, particularly. So there's no problem with it. You can review it whenever and wherever you want it. Okay? So disclaimer lang po. Republic Act 8293, Section 185 states that the fair use of a copyrighted work for criticism, comment, news, reporting, teaching, including multiple copies for classroom use, scholarship research, and similar purposes is not an infringement of copyright. Okay, Paranaque. Okay. Hi, John Sal, Mindanao, sa mga kababayan ko sa Zamboanga, Sibugay, at saka sa Cebu City and Lapu-Lapu City. My division. Okay, mag-assessment tayo. Ito ay mga lessons natin na natutunan nung nakaraan linggo. Okay? So the power to resolve legal issues, disputes is vested in the Supreme Court and the lower courts under its supervision. The power to resolve legal dispute is vested in the Supreme Court and the lower courts under its supervision. Is that statement true or false? So, this is a pre-assessment. Ibig sabihin, last time we had a lesson, and ito naman yung connecting lesson natin, no? Ibig sabihin, this will be one that anchors our lesson for this week. Okay, ang sagot dyan ay true. Okay, so the power to resolve legal issues, disputes is vested in the Supreme Court. Yan naman talaga ang trabaho ng Supreme Court, being the sole body for the judiciary, no, branch of our government. Okay. Number 2, quasi-judicial bodies are under the direct supervision of the Supreme Court. Quasi-judicial bodies are under the direct supervision of the Supreme Court. The answer to that is false. Kasi yung mga quasi-judicial, hindi naman sila fully judicial, no? They are under the direct supervision of the office of the executive department, particularly because these are part of the, not all of them are appointing offices, but these are under the executive department, although they have the a form of judicial because they make their own policies and also they execute its policies to control its members, particularly these issues. I will expound this later as we move along. The third one is an even-handed judiciary requires the virtues of political neutrality and fairness. An even-handed judiciary requires the virtues of political neutrality and fairness. Dapat fair or neutral. Ang sagot dyan ay, of course, true. If you have to be in the judiciary, dapat walang pintas at wala kang pinipili. Kaya nga, yung may ano sila logo or yung symbol ng judiciary is yung parang weighing scale at nakapiring yung babae, that's the justice particularly, no, para hindi nila nakita kung sino yung mga taong dapat hahatulan. Okay, lastly, decisions made by the Supreme Court are appealable. Decisions made by the Supreme Court are appealable. The answer is false. Kasi, pag nasa Supreme Court na, yun na ang final decision. Pag hindi pa siya nakapaabot doon pa sa Court of Appeal, maaapila pa. However, we are going to start. Hello dyan kay STU Manalo, who is online. Okay, so, I want you to decode this one because our last lesson, last week, we have the executive department. Tapos na tayo doon. There's the Office of the President and the agencies under it. And now, we are into the judiciary system. But before that, I want you to decode this motto of the judiciary branch of our government. Okay? Can you please decipher the motto by using the symbols? Equal sign, and then we have the one that I told you a while ago, the scale of justice, and we have the direction with the apple, and the word breathe, and we call that one the hammer, or the justice hammer. So this one, if you can decode the motto, that is the motto of the Supreme Court. Okay, so I'll show you. Are you ready to know the motto using the symbols and objects? Okay, just try. So let's try to see the answer to this. That's equal justice under the apple, under the direction, the law, kasi yung B-R-E-A, no, it's not being pronounced. So the law. That is the symbol yan ng law, yung the hammer law, particularly. Okay, so ibig sabihin, ito yung ating quarter 4, week 2. This is about the topic on rules and responsibilities of the judicial branch of the government. Okay, this is the one of the main branches of our government according to the Constitution. Okay, so ito yung ating most essential learning competency. Analyze the rules and responsibilities of the Philippine Judiciary. If you can see in this particular schema or diagram, the Supreme Court is the highest, no, at the topmost echelon of the judicial branch. It has a head, which is composed of a head and the 15 associate justices. Okay, the Chief Justice. And we have under it the Court of Appeals, the Sandigan Bayan, and the Court of Tax Appeals. So they are reporting to the Supreme Court. If you can see the arrow. And, okay, and of course, under the Court of Appeals, Sandigan Bayan, and the Court of Tax Appeals, which these are called the lower courts, we have regional trial courts and the Sharia district courts, which of course appeals to the Court of Appeals, as you can see in the arrow. Okay, and lastly, on the bottom are the metropolitan trial courts, the municipal trial courts in the cities, municipal trial courts in the town, of course, and we have municipal circuit trial courts and the Sharia circuit courts, which are lesser than the Sharia district courts. Okay. So the judiciary power rests with the Supreme Court and the lower courts, as established in our Constitution and under Articles 8, Section 1 of the 1987 Constitution. And its duty is to settle actual controversies involving the rights which are legally demandable and enforceable. So what are these legal parlance? So isa lang yung ating judicial, which is the pinaka-highest natin. We have only one Supreme Court. Kasi unlike other countries like in the United States, they have several, they do not call it Supreme Court, they call it one as a federal court of its federal state. We have only one. Our form of government is a presidential government. Okay, democratic form of government. And there are classes of courts. Dalawang klase ng court or korte. Meron tayong constitutional court, which provided by the Constitution, and we have only one Supreme Court, and the statutory courts. No? Statutory courts. So status, from the word status, statutory courts, which is below the Supreme Court. And there are types of statutory courts. We have regular and special courts. Parang pagkain ng regular and special courts. So ito yung mga regular courts. Kasi alam naman natin yung Supreme Court isa. So under the regular courts, meron tayong Court of Appeal, Regional Trial Court, Metropolitan Trial Court, Municipal Trial Court, and Municipal Circuit Trial Courts. So I will explain you later ano yung kabuuan at saka yung functions nila. Ito namang special courts. It needs special attention kasi ito ay nag-hearing lang ng mga special cases particular to their jurisdiction. Pag sinabing jurisdiction, yung kanilang kabuuan, yung kanilang saklaw, ibig sabihin doon. So Sandigan Bayan, we have courts of tax appeals, we have Sharia district courts, and the Sharia circuit courts. Okay? So, a while ago, we mentioned the true or false about quasi-judicial. And this quasi-judicial, ibig sabihin, hindi sila full judicial. To give explanation, although this is not under the discussion on the judiciary, I just want to make distinction. Kasi minsan, nadi-discuss ito. So, yung ibig sabihin ng quasi-judicial agencies, these are agencies under the executive department, performing duties that are similar to the judicial department. Examples of these are Commission on Election or COMELEC. We have National Labor Relations commission sa mga labor yan. So may yung mga problema doon sa mga labor cases, no? Yung labor, manggagawa. Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC. Katulad ng yung mga negosyo, no, yung sa mga Securities Exchange Commission. Kasi minsan-minsan nagkakapareho yung pangalan ng mga business entities. So, yun ay mga agencies under that, but they are not directly under the Supreme Court. So, as a quasi-judicial, it creates laws. The agency acts as quasi-judicial and quasi-legislative entity. So, the administrative agencies act in legislative-like capacity. So, the executive branch of the government can exercise power of adjudication specific for the purpose of the function of that agency. Yan ang ibig sabihin. Na, punta tayo sa Supreme Court. It is the highest court of the land, no, in our country. And it has an administrative supervision also of among the courts and including its personnel. That is embedded in the Constitution, Article 8, Section 4, Paragraph 1. That the Supreme Court shall be composed of a Chief Justice and 14 Associate Justices, which now composed of 15 lahat sila. Okay? O kamakailan lang, ngayon ng hapon, di ba? Very fresh pa. May naghain ng impeachment doon sa Kongreso sa isa sa mga Associate Justices. And hindi naman siya pursue kasi niripaso ng Kamara, de Representante. So appointment to the Judiciary are made by the President of the Philippines based on a list of submitted candidates by the Judicial and Bar Council. So have you heard this one? GBC? Sila yung magsasubmit ng yung mga candidate. And of course, it has to be appointed by the President. Pipilian niya yon galing sa shortlist ng GBC. And which is under the supervision, of course, of the Supreme Court. The GBC screens prospective appointees of any judicial post, kahit sa lower court din. So the GBC is composed of the Chief Justice as the ex-officio chairman, the Secretary of Justice, and the representative of the Congress as ex-officio members, and of course representatives of the Integrated Bar of the Philippines, and they must also be a representative of the Professor of Law, a retired member of the Supreme Court, and a representative of the private sector as members. Hi dyan kay Ma'am Wendy Jericho Jesus. Okay, so ito yung mga qualifications ng member, to be a member of the Supreme Court. Dapat natural-born Filipino citizen siya, 40 years old, and member of the Philippine Bar, no? Integrated Bar of the Philippines. As well as 15 years siya nag-practice ng law or a judge in the lower court, of course. And competence siya, now, yung competence is very subjective, no? Ibig sabihin, hindi siya siguro nakasuhan o walang mga problema o complaint sa kanya. Known to be of competence, alam na talaga nila kasi mga abogado sila, no? May integridad, probity, no? Integrity and probity. Probity means to say, alam nila, nasa kanila yung essence ng isang taong alam ang mali at tama, yun ang probity, and saka yung independence nila. So hindi sila kesyo following the direction without using their own volition, meaning to say, dapat sila yung magdi-decide. So walang nag-dictate sa kanila. Yun ay isa sa mga requirements. And of course, at last, the Supreme Court is the last resort tribunal and its rulings cannot be appealed. Yan sa true or false natin, hindi na pwedeng i-appeal kasi Supreme Court na yan. It decides on cases dealing with the interpretation of the Constitution. So lahat naman siguro ng law under the lower laws form tinitingnan natin yan, ini-examine natin yan, ini-evaluate natin yan kung ito ba ay constitutional. So example, it can be overturned a law passed by the Congress if it deems it is unconstitutional. Of course, katakot-takot na debate ang mangyayari muna, no? May mga oral arguments. Okay? So, ang ating Chief Justice ngayon sa picture, siya ay ating Chief Justice ng Supreme Court, no other than Justice Alexander Gesmundo, appointed by the President of the Republic of the Philippines. Okay, ito yung mga functions or main functions ng Supreme Court. One is exercise original jurisdiction over cases affecting ambassadors, other public ministers, and consuls, and other petitions of certiorari, prohibition, mandamus, quo warranto, and habeas corpus. Sir, nosebleed ako, ano ba yan? These are Latin words. So yung ating Supreme Court, yun ang magdidinig ng kaso ng ukol sa mga ambassadors, yung mga lalaking tao na sila, di ba, ambassadors ng ibang countries, or mga public ministers, or mga consuls, no? Natin, no? Ambassadors natin, ambassadors natin, hindi ng ibang countries, kasi wala tayong jurisdiction doon, affecting ambassadors natin. So, dinidinig yan, and over the petitions for certiorari. So, isa-isahin natin, ano yung certiorari? So, writ of certiorari, meaning to say, a Latin meaning to be informed. So, yung Supreme Court ay nag-i-issue yan ng order to review the decision and proceedings sa mga lower courts and determine whether they are constitutional or not. So, nag-write sila ng or write ng writ of certiorari. So, may mga irregularidad ba yan? So, mag-write sila ng writ of certiorari. Yun namang mandamus on the other hand is an order by a superior court to a lower court to do or perform their act or duty in which they are bound to do so. So, they mandate, o dapat gawin nyo to, this is a mandate that you have to do. Okay? Just to make this clear, no? Ang mandamus. Ito naman, another jurisdiction power ng Supreme Court is the writ of prohibition. So this is an appellate court's written order to prohibit a lower court from acting because it does not have jurisdiction for that case. So merong ginagawa na writ of prohibition ang korte o hindi mo yan jurisdiction sa pagdinig. Dapat ito, dito, dapat doon. Hindi dito ang jurisdiction mo. So, writ of quo warranto, in Latin, it means by what warrant, meaning, or what authority, it is an order of the Supreme Court to challenge, or not just Supreme Court, but also the lower courts, to challenge the lower courts' right to hold a public office or corporate office. So, challenge. Maybe it's asking why the person holds the office when in fact he is not qualified. So, kung marinig na yung quo warranto, so, ibig sabihin, challenge yung qualification mo. Yan ang power ng jurisdiction power ng Supreme Court. At saka yung writ of habeas corpus. In Latin, meaning, show me the body. Corpus, habeas, meaning, show me the body. It protects against unlawful and indefinite imprisonment as provided in the Constitution. Ibig sabihin, bawal mong i-imprison yung mga taong without due process. So, bawal magdi-detain ng taong walang due process. Okay, yun ang habeas corpus. And of course, the second power of the Supreme Court, revise, review, reverse, modify, or affirm, appeal, or certiorari. Yun, magre-revise sila kung mayroong mga dapat i-revise sa mga cases regarding sa kanilang mga decisions. So, ibig sabihin nito, yung constitutionality, of course, ay sinabi ko yan, valid ba ito? Yung treaty, yung mga international or executive agreement, yung mga proclamation order, o yung order ng mga agencies, tama ba yon against the Constitution? Yun naman talaga ang mirror ng ating Supreme Court. Yun parang mirror niya, tinitingala niya at saka in-evaluate. Or yung mga taxes or mga toll, tinitingnan din niya. And also looking into the jurisdiction of any lower court, no, on cases in which the penalty is imposed is reclusion perpetua or higher. Reclusion perpetua, yung panghabay buhay na yung imprisonment, no? Cases in which an error or question of the law is involved. Yon. Another power of the Supreme Court is assign temporarily judges of lower courts or other stations. So such temporary assignment shall not exceed 6 months without the consent of the judge concerned. So this is what we call the administrative power, no? They have to assign judges to hear the case in the lower courts. And number 3, order a change of venue or place of trial to avoid miscarriage of justice. So pwedeng ipagdinig doon sa Maynila instead of doon sa Mindanao or sa Visayas kasi may mga problema technical. Yun ang dinidinig nila. And of course, lastly, promulgate the rules concerning the protection and enforcement of constitutional rights, pleading, practice, and procedure in all courts, lahat ng korte. Admission to yung mga gusto mag-practice ng law, yung mga mag-lawyer, sila yung nag-administer ng bar exam, nag-supervise, at saka nag-administer. Admission to the practice of law. So, hindi siya under PRC, no? Under the Supreme Court. And the integrated bar and the legal assistance to the underprivileged. Yon ang Supreme Court. So, number 6, meron pa palang isa, appoint all officials and employees of the judiciary in accordance with the civil service law. Okay. Now, ito yung mga lower courts, lower than the Supreme Courts, no? Ito yung secondary courts baga. Sa ibang country, they called it inferior courts. But because of the connotation of the word inferior, parang may superior, talaga namang supreme siya. Sa atin sa Pilipinas, we have the Court of Appeals, the power to review all final judgment, decisions, resolutions, orders, or awards of regional trial courts. So, yung regional trial courts nag-a-appeal doon sa Court of Appeal. So, yung lahat ng pagdinig na hindi na gawa o na desisyonan na regional trial court ay pinapadala sa Court of Appeal kung gusto mag-appeal yung inaakusa. Okay? So, except lang dito yung though within the appellate jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. Kasi final yun. We have another one, which is Court of Tax Appeals. Itong Court of Tax Appeals, ang pangalan pa lang, ang dinidinig nila ay ang apila ng pagkakaroon ng cases sa tax, the revenue tax and custom cases of the Commissioner of Internal Revenue and the Commissioner of Customs. Ayan. Yung mga tax sa ating mga custom at saka yung ating mga goods and products. Na? Yan ang tax appeals. Ito naman sa Bayan, another lower court, a special court, of course, just like kanina, a special court din yun, mandated to conduct trials to decide the criminal and civil cases. Take note, criminal and civil cases. Yung crime at saka yung civil. Malalaman nyo yan, anong kaibahan ng criminal and civil cases. Hindi yan saklaw ng competencies natin in the higher discussion. No? Against government officials and employees. So ito lang ang pagdinig ng mga kaso sa mga nasa gobyerno. Yun ang Sandigan Bayan. Accused of graft and corruption and similar other offenses. And now our presiding justice now is Amparo Kabutahe Tang. No? The Sandigan Bayan, of course, shall be the direct exclusive control and supervision of the Office of the Ombudsman. Have you heard the word? Narinig niyo ba yung Ombudsman? Ombudsman. Yan ang nag-supervise ng Sandigan Bayan. And of course, they have separate function kasi yung Ombudsman is directly under the Office of the President, right? but it has parang a supervision lang naman. Okay? Yung dinidinig ng ombudsman kasi na-mention natin yung ombudsman, ay yun din ang mga government officials, no? May mga kaso sila. Tapos, ipino-forward nila sa Sandigan Bayan. Yun pala. So, wala silang pagdidinig na magagawa o gagawin doon sa Office ng Ombudsman. Sila lang yung nagpa-file ng kaso sa Sandigan Bayan. So, malinaw yan. Okay? So, punta tayo sa the third court. The third, tawag natin dyan, lower courts na. Okay? So, ito ay mga regular courts. Itong regular regional trial courts. These are second-level courts, Bale, after the the Supreme Court, we have the Court of Appeals sa Sandigan Bayan. This is on the second level. Bakit naging second level? Kasi isa lang ang Supreme Court, walang level yan. Yung first level kanina, yun ang appeals at Sandigan Bayan. Ito naman, tinatawag nilang second level, which were established among the 13 regions in the Philippines, judicial regions in the Philippines. Exercise cooperative appellate jurisdiction over all cases decided by the Metropolitan Trial Courts, the Municipal Trial Courts, and the respective territorial jurisdiction. Okay? Hello dyan sa DepEd Lapu-Lapu City. Good afternoon sa lahat, lalong-lalo na sa aming division superintendent. At saka sa akin pong mga kaguro din. Good afternoon sa inyo. Yes, Ryan, Claire, Adico, yes. I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay, so yung Metropolitan and Municipal Trial Courts, ito ay lower courts na talaga, ng mga local courts natin. Yung trial courts in the towns and cities in the Metropolitan Manila area are called Metropolitan Trial Courts. Kasi malaki-laking jurisdiction yon. Okay? Pero outside doon sa Metro Manila, ang tawag nila dyan ay Municipal Trial Courts. The cities outside Metropolitan Manila, the equivalent of a Metropolitan Trial Court is referred to as a Municipal Trial Court. Of course, yung mga local cases lang, both civil at saka crime. So pag may mga problema dito na gusto mag-apila kasi siguro ayaw nila, parang nakukulangan sila sa decision, so ina-appeal nila yan doon sa Regional Trial Court. At saka yung Regional Trial Court, nag-a-appeal yan doon sa Court of Appeal. So, pakiwari ninyo, ang problema dyan, di ba? Yung pera, di ba? You have to really spend for the lawyer, yung effort natin, at saka hindi talaga biro yung may kaso. Kahit lang dito sa Municipal Trial Court. So, dapat nasisettle na dito. So, Municipal Circuit Trial Courts are judicial courts of the Philippine judicial system which covers 2 or more municipalities in the country. Kaya sila tinatawag na circuit kasi it involves 2 or 3 towns. Siguro maliit lang yung mga cases. So, madalang lang. So, ginagawa nila yun sa trial circuits. And then we have a special court, a Sharia court. Bali, this one is under the first level, the Sharia court. These are under the administrative supervision of the Supreme Court of the Philippines. So this only talks about cases involving our brother Muslims. No? This involves a very special form of hearing. We call that one a Sharia, meaning customary of the Muslim to use personal laws and exclude the criminal laws. Ito lang ang personal laws pala, no? This take note ito lang ay para sa personal laws. Yung pagbabangi ng mga kapatiran Muslim, mag-away nila, yung mga ganon. Pero yung mga criminal law, doon na talaga yun sa regular courts of justice. So, dapat natin malaman yan. And of course, yun ay meron din ang mga Sharia circuit courts. Okay? Especially sa mga administrative region on Bangsamoro Administrative region natin. Okay? So, I think, no, let's, in order to satisfy everything, as a form of synthesis, in the Philippines, we have types of judiciary, no? The judiciary that is special, and we have the regular. And we only have one Supreme Court under our present Constitution. The very main function of the judiciary branch of our government is to evaluate the laws, whether that law coming from the lower courts are constitutional or not. Yun lang naman ang focus ng ating judiciary. And of course, meron niyang mga provisions, no? And under the law, everybody is treated equal. So walang above it at saka walang below. Kaya nakapiri yung mata, no, para hindi makita na ay kumpare ko siya or kumadre ko siya, my friend, yun, kapatid ko. Dapat pantay-pantay. Pag nagkasala talaga, no, yun ay talagang dinidinig ng hustisya. Okay. Now, hi John sa kasamahan ko sa Science and Technology Education Center. Kung nakikinig kayo, good afternoon sa inyong lahat. Okay, let's check na. Let's check and evaluate your understanding. Which is, or ano ba to? Which of the following, that's which of the following is the primary role and function of the judicial branch? Which of the following is the primary role and function of the judicial branch of the Philippine government? A, it carries out and enforces laws. B, it is authorized to make laws. C, it is authorized to evaluate laws. Or D, all of this. Sige nga, letter only. You can write letter only. Okay, the answer is C. Sabi ko nga a while ago, it is authorized to evaluate laws. Yan ang ating Philippine Judiciary branch of our government, no? Primary role and function. Second, a special court mandated to address the adjudication of appeals involving internal revenue tax and customs cases. A, Supreme Court. B, Court of Appeal. C, Court of Tax Appeal. D, Sandigan Bayan. Ang sagot dyan ay, okay, of course, obviously, Court of Tax Appeal. Number 3, a special court that tries and decides. Yes, tama, Carolina Lijado, C. Okay. Ito, tingnan natin ha. A special court that tries and decides criminal and civil cases against government officials and employees accused of graft and corruption. Is it A, Court of Appeal, B, Municipal Trial Court, C, Regional Trial Court, D, Sandigan Bayan? So ano yung letra ng sagot nyo? Okay, let's see kung tama. Sabi ni Caroline Alejado, D, tingnan natin. Tama, very good. That's Sandigan Bayan. Okay. Now before we will part ways, tapos na pala tayo, yun ang mga references ko. Yan. Be sure that all pictures and images are courtesy of the Creative Commons. Okay? And of course, our reflection, we have the judiciary system, okay, the judicial form of government. And that's the only hope that we have, because the judicial system is a friendly, hindi naman siya kaaway natin. Sila yung, it gives justice to us. Sila yung lumalaban para sa atin. So, kaya sa buhay natin, di ba? Sometimes we feel injustice. It's normal to have that. But it's also proper and prim to settle things before things gets worse. Di ba? Kasi sa maliit ng bagay nagsisimula ang lahat. So, to settle that, hindi natin palakihin. But of course, for those who are really into justice because of crime, justice has to be served to them. And I think that is exhibited to all forms of the universal value of justice, no? So, kasi God is love, God is justice. That's two sides of the coin. We call that one as juxtaposition of love and justice. And those things are inseparable. So yun lang, hoping that you learn something sa ating episode ngayon. Anyway, you can review this one in our YouTube and of course in our Department of Education live and of course dito din sa ETUlay. So susunod na naman, we will learn more every Huwebes day. Dito si Tutor Alan nasasabing sa susunod muli, paalam, take care, mag-ingat, be safe.